Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's better. That's definitely better. Hey, everyone. This is Aaron Fink from Grapple City Rewind. Make sure to subscribe to us with whatever podcast platform you use so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review on whatever platform you use. It'll go a long way in helping us to be discovered by more wrestling fans like you. All right, cue that music.
Hello and welcome to Grapple City Rewind, taking you all the way back to the iconic pay-per-views and television specials that shaped professional wrestling history. This week, we're covering one of the most anticipated and also controversial pay-per-views in wrestling history, WCW Starrcade 97. The culmination of an 18-month storyline, the peak of NWO era, the night where WCW had the ball on the goal line with the biggest homegrown babyface of the decade. We will break down all the production, the booking, the matches, the finishes, the behind-the-scenes decisions that still fuel debate nearly 3 decades later. Go match by match with times, finishes, Meltzer ratings, examine how this looked, sounded, how it felt in the moment, and whether it holds up today. Might even discuss the fallout, the long-term impact in WCW. We'll get into all that very soon when we talk about Starrcade 1997. I'm Bradley Palermo, here as always with Aaron Fink. And Aaron, before we go back to the 90s, let's talk a little bit about this past weekend, because it was WWE Survivor Series 2025. I think you were watching from home.
I was watching from home. You were watching from Petco.
I was there. Yeah, sort of.
You were there.
I was one of 40,000 people on a flat field that watched it on a monitor, and they told us we were there, but I'm not really sure. I don't think there was a good seat in the house. I was probably 20 or 30 rows back. But if there was one person standing between your part of the field and the ring, they would block hundreds of people. So we spent a lot of our night being like, sit the fuck down.
Yeah, definitely didn't seem like the best arena or stadium for a show like that. Could you imagine sitting in the top deck of the stands for that? You're just watching the screen the whole time, probably.
Well, I mean, yeah, even on the field, we were pretty much watching the screens. Even when I sat down, because everyone's like, oh, we got field tickets, and we're in the first 30 rows, and everyone around me was like, man, these tickets fucking suck. And the other guy sits down and says, these are horrible fucking tickets, because there's this huge structure around the ring to build a canopy.
Yeah.
In case it were to rain, I guess, over the wrestlers. Then there's the ring itself, and then for half the thing, there's a structure of the cage itself. It's going around 2 rings. So for the singles matches, you might be getting the ring that's closest to you. You might be getting the ring that's even further away, that's got the view of another ring in front of it. There was, right. When I went up to get concessions in I guess what would be section 1, the first section of actual seatings off the field, their view kind of sucked too. You just see some weird structure in a huge screen. Mm-hmm. And then when you look up in the outfield and the people that were seated up kind of in the bleachers and the cheap seats, that would have been you're not even there. I mean, I don't know. I think unless you were one of the 300 people that were in the first 6 rows, I don't think there was any way it was a good seat there was a good seat in the house,
People were just there for the vibes, I guess. I mean, that's kind of the thing that I'm concerned about with WrestleMania at Allegiant Stadium. I want to go because it's Saturday is my birthday, night 1.
Yeah.
And to get a seat that I feel like I would actually enjoy and see what's happening in the ring, it's going to cost me $900 a day.
Yeah.
And it's just so much.
The time I went to Mania, I went to Allegiant for SummerSlam.
I remember. Yeah.
And section one was okay. I mean, I guess
wasn't that the one where Becky beat Bianca in 27 seconds?
Yeah, because Mercedes Moné didn't show up, whatever they used to call her, Sasha Banks. But that was okay. Section 1 was okay, I guess. I think the problem is with a baseball stadium. It's just, 40,000 people there, but I don't know if probably 15,000 of them fit into seats. Most of it was just it was like being at a music festival. It was just big, vast, open, flat, no elevation. So, I would rather go to WrestleMania and sit in the first section
In a football stadium, yeah,
in
it
a
makes
football
sense because it's
stadium.
all like tiered
Right.
and stuff.
I'll
Yeah.
never go back to a baseball. Have you seen the wrestling matches from the early 1900s that were at baseball stadiums in New York and such? It's hilarious because if you see these old photos, it's like a small group of like press and
Hmm.
managers around the ring. Like, like 7 people around the ring. It looks like almost like COVID times did, where there's no one around unless they have to be there. And then you look in the stands and they're full. So like no one was anywhere near the ring at all, and there were no Videotron
Yeah, but there
screens.
was no scaffolding and probably nothing obstructing them per se. They just like would see two tiny dots wrestling, like
You see
fighting
two
each
times,
other.
yeah, and in those days, a lot of times it was 2 guys going for like the full 4 hours, and it was really
Just in
boring.
a
And
submission, yeah.
yeah, not a lot of
In a
moving.
headlock.
So yeah, so it was a lot different back then. But I mean, I basically paid to like sit with a bunch of
Wrestling homies.
obnoxious wrestling fans and like,
Well,
but I mean, some of them are cool, but no, mostly it's like anytime you're in a crowd with that many people, you're just like, fuck all these people. I want to be on my couch without them.
yeah, it's just different. I mean, the one thing I'll say about Money in the Bank at whatever that basketball arena
Into it.
is, Intuit Dome. Yeah, that I felt like there wasn't a bad seat just because of the way that it's made, and there definitely was like a giant ass screen going all the way around,
Yeah.
like there is at SoFi, but
Right.
it. I don't know. The vibes were good. Arenas are much better. I think
Oh, yeah.
baseball stadiums are kind of dumb because like there's so much verticality and then the whole entire field is completely flat, right? So you're just like,
Right.
it's like a floor seat at a concert. If you're not like in the first 10 rows,
Yeah.
if you're like in the 30th row, you're never going to see anything because there's always going to be people standing up in front of you.
Oh,
And it's just,
that was the other problem with the baseball field is baseball fields aren't meant to let thousands and thousands of fans onto the fucking field. So
Mhm.
there's no, first of all, the line was like 7 blocks long to get in. It was,
My God.
I thought by the time I got up, it was going to be some heavy security. It wasn't. It was just like walk on in. So I don't know what their problem was, but it took literally hours to get in through the normal line. Then you go up. There's only one way to the field that we knew of, at least, and it's like stuck in between like the line to the bathroom and like all this like shitty concession area. So now there's thousands of people lining up like to fight to go through this one part where they'll let you go onto the field, which is like only meant to seat a little portion of a section. Now everyone's funneling through that, and they don't tell any of us that you need a floor wristband. So everyone is in that line getting down to the bottom where the fucking worker is like, you don't have the wristband. We're like, where do we get the wristband? Oh, it's all the way back up where you walked in.
Oh my God.
So yeah, like everyone's getting turned around, but there's really no way for the people that are getting turned around to come back up through all that line. So it's just like pissed off people. And
It's all smushed together.
yeah, I got down there at like 1:30. Like I barely got there for the bell to ring in my seat for the first match. I mean, we could talk about the show a little bit. I guess I more just wanted to talk about what a unfortunate place that was to hold a wrestling event. I thought
Yeah.
the Dominic Mysterio versus John Cena match was probably my favorite. We called this entire card. It's only 4
We did.
matches. We
Yeah.
got everything right, winners and losers wise. But yeah, it was the Dominic match had me going. Like I was excited. I liked that people were kind of torn between the San Diego thing and the John Cena marks, the chants going back and forth. But my friend that I bought totally got worked by that Dominic Mysterio injury. He's like, oh man, oh mate, I'm not going to try to do his British accent, but he's like, oh mate, he's really hurt. You can see his shoulder. It's visibly popped out of socket. Like that looks so bad. And he won't shut up. And I won't acknowledge it because I'm like, this is a work, dude. Like, because all they did was bring out like 3 more like referees and they're not even really doing medical anything. They're just kind of like acting, like obviously. He's like, oh my God, he's fucked. And then people around me are shouting, we want refunds. We want refunds. So they've all been worked also.
Uh-huh.
And then of course, Dominic wasn't really injured. And then he used that distraction to have the Judgment Day and eventually Liv Morgan come out and kick John Cena in the balls and all this stuff. And that's kind of how Dominic Mysterio won that. But I guess I was kind of surprised by Liv Morgan jumping into John Cena's arms. I thought, wait, is she going to is she fucking with him right now, or did she really just turn on Dominic? You know?
Yeah, that was probably my favorite match as well. I was watching with my brother, and when the injury angle happened for a little while, I was like, "Oh, it's not real." And then I was like, "Maybe it is. I don't know," And then the three medical staff came out, and they like just were like plain clothes people, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, this is part of the story." But I had fun.
Yeah, those guys didn't seem real. Yeah, it was fun.
Women's War Games was fine. Like, they were like they used all the weapons. They had all the fun. I liked Io's swanton inside of a trash can. She always finds a way to do something with the trash can on her head, but slightly differently for the past 3 years.
Yeah, we all knew it was going to happen, but everyone was like waiting for it. It's like the band playing the hit single or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the women's War Games suffered a little bit in some of our eyes because we'd just seen a very good women's match of the same basic rules at Blood and Guts with AEW, which I would say was probably better. But
It was, but it's almost unfair to compare the two because, I mean, yes, they are essentially the same type of match, but the companies are so different. Like, almost all of the women in the AEW Blood and Guts match were bleeding. They were doing crazy things with glass and thumbtacks, and
yeah.
that's just not going to happen in WWE. So it almost feels unfair to compare the two, but I agree. Out of the two, I liked the women's Blood and Guts match more.
Compare it or not, it took some of the steam out of the sales for this match for me because I just seen something similar. You know what I mean? It just did. It just wasn't as. It's hard to be like as stoked when like this is the more sanitized version, but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it was fine. I mean, sometimes WWE's women's matches they get kind of like we're all standing around, we're really kind of acting with our mannerisms, and then somebody like I see like the kind of like the slow motion fight and the big like kind of lower impact stuff. I don't know, little cheesy moments, but it's fine. It was cool. I was always watching without like commentary and stuff, so it's just different,
Yeah, super different. And then, we talked about Dom versus Cena. Stephanie Vaquer versus Nikki Bella was fine.
It was like a popcorn match. I feel like no one really
the go get your popcorn match.
Yeah, after everybody. That's what I meant. Yeah, after everybody saw John Cena and Dominic, I think they were kind of all out of steam. I thought the match was fine, but nobody really gave a shit about anything other than Stephanie bouncing her ass for the Devil's Kiss twice.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And this episode has been brought to you by Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere. If you've been injured in an accident, motorcycle, car, dog bite, slip and fall, or even if you've been hit in the head with a flying steel chair, these are the guys to call. They've got knockout reviews on Google, a killer track record, and they always fight for the win. I can testify to that personally. Weber for Law took care of me, and they will take care of you too. Don't wait. Visit weberforlaw.com. That's WEBER, the number 4, law.com. Or call 818-502-9200. That's 818-502-9200. Weber for Law, your tag team partner when life body slams you out of nowhere.
Right. And then she does have a great finisher, her like corkscrew moonsault thing. And then, the men's War Games, obviously lots of big names, lots of pomp and circumstance on the entrances. But again, like it was fine. Like Punk got busted open, but it was only for like 2 minutes. And then he stopped bleeding all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And Cody's cut over his eye came undone for a couple minutes. And
Brock got to F5 everybody. Cody got to Cody cut everybody.
Roman got to tsunami everybody.
Yeah.
It was just a lot of trading of like big moves and finishers. It didn't, I guess when I think of War Games, the War Games matches that I enjoy the most, besides the ones from the 90s, are the ones from NXT, because those I felt like had a lot of story in them, had a lot of death-defying crazy shit happen. So it's kind of hard to compare. And you know, I don't think that this one lived up to those, but it was entertaining. It was just kind of predictable until Mr. Mystery Man in the mask and all black came out. And
Mystery Austin Theory Man, as
yeah,
everyone says. Yeah.
that's what people think. I assume that they're right because they pay more attention. Although I will say that the stomp that the mystery person gave looked exactly like a Rollins stomp, like down to the way he moved his arms and stuff. Like whoever it was, I assume it wasn't Rollins, so whoever it was really spent some time watching how Rollins does the stomp, because that was obviously the intention, is to make you think that it was Seth, and the crowd went crazy for that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just rewatched that part because I got up finally for like 1 second and it was over. I figured like the bell just rang for War Games. I had time and I could go pee.
Yeah.
And I duck out for a second and it's like, what the fuck? Like I saw the Mystery Man jump in and I was like, oh, this is gonna take a minute to play out. Like you know, but I rewatched it and yeah, it's fine. It looks crazy for me to even watch it on TV after I was there. Like you can kind of tell it's just a big flat field of people.
Mm-hmm.
It looks different than most outdoor WWE events that we've seen.
Yeah. So overall, I guess I would say it was mid.
Yeah.
And now it's time for the rewind.
Okay, we're here to talk about Starrcade 1997, December 28th of 1997 to be exact. This was at the MCI Center in Washington, D.C. with 24,000 fans. Thank you, Rick. This was the highest grossing pay-per-view in WCW history, the most bought pay-per-view in WCW's history. And as Brad mentioned previously, this was supposed to be the culmination of an 18-month storyline between Sting and Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Sting had not wrestled pretty much the entirety of those 18 months. I also don't think he had ever spoken a word during those 18 months. This was the era of the Crow Sting. We saw that in the intro setting up this pay-per-view before everything started. You're getting a very crowish vibe and ominous poetic voiceover setting up the event.
He's witnessed the ruin of an empire.
Yeah, a bunch of silly voiceover. On commentary we had Brad's favorite, Tony Schiavone.
Ooh.
And then Iron Mike Tenay and the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. So right off the bat, they start talking about referee controversy and how there have been lots of discussions about who the referee would be for this match between Hogan and Sting. And so
you know what that means.
Yeah, and so executive chairman J.J. Dillon decided that he would put all the referees' names in a hat and he would draw one at random, and we'll find out later in the pay-per-view who that referee will be.
How many times in the intro do they have to tell us that this is the greatest night in wrestling history? This is going to be the greatest night ever. This is the most anticipated event in wrestling history. I was like, okay, you guys are pushing that pretty hard, but
yeah, and with the benefit of hindsight, they're definitely hammering this a little too hard.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing that I noticed is they keep calling out, yes, there are WCW wrestlers in attendance as fans watching, because before they were wrestlers, they were wrestling fans. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of weird, but whatever.
This is super insulting that you put like big ass wrestling names in the audience with the marks just to sit there and eat popcorn. It's just weird.
And once the pay-per-view is over, I realized, so you sat Rey Mysterio and Harlem Heat in the fucking crowd instead of putting them in a match, and you had these matches instead.
Right.
Anyway, won't get ahead of myself. We'll just move on to the first match of the evening, which was Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship. I gotta say, I did enjoy this match. It was a typical Cruiserweight match, fast-paced. These guys are both terrific. We've seen plenty of Eddie in WCW before. We've seen a little bit of Dean Malenko as well.
Eddie's a champion here.
It gets hard-hitting. Eddie is the champion, and Dean, I guess they've been having a feud. They hit each other pretty hard, pretty fast in this match. The crowd is excited for this one. They hate Eddie. They're chanting Eddie sucks. One of the highlights that made me laugh out loud was Eddie was on his knees, like pleading or something, and then he like ran out of the ring, but he didn't run on his feet. He like ran on his knees and like
he ran on his knees. I've never seen someone run across a wrestling ring on their knees, like
he
full
moves
on
so
sprint.
fast too. Yeah, it looked really funny.
It was really weird, and he used the ref as a shield at one point too, which I thought was kind of a good little heel move.
Yeah, definite classic Eddie Guerrero stuff. Watching Dom at Survivor Series, you could kind of see how Dom's just doing the Eddie shtick.
Yeah, he is.
That's all he does, and it's great. It works.
How come Shivani wouldn't shut up in this match about Kevin Nash is not in the building? Kevin Nash is not going to be here tonight. We are not sure why Kevin Nash is not in the building. You guys, Kevin Nash.
He kind of jumped the gun a little bit because Scott Hall comes out after this match is over and starts talking about what Shivani has already talked about for 10 minutes. And it's like, yeah, you kind of put the cart before the horse, Shivani. Anyway, like I said, very entertaining match. It was very intense, a lot of back and forth. Eventually, Eddie starts targeting Malenko's knee on the outside using the steps and the ring post, and that becomes Eddie's focus. Eddie hit Malenko with the frog splash, but he sort of aimed it onto Malenko's knee, and he got the pin. So Guerrero retained. I think this was this is terrible to say, but I think this was probably match of the night, honestly, because it kind of just all goes downhill from here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, this was a good one. There might be another contender for match of the night, but I'll call it when I see it. Match 2 is Scott. Well, before match 2, we had Scott Hall comes out and also starts rambling about Nash. I don't know what he was talking about. The Giant interrupts, power bombs Hall. I don't know. Giant leaves, segment ends. Like what was going on there? What'd you look up?
Yeah, so they basically, Nash just decided that he didn't want to show up and fight the Giant, and so Scott Hall was like trying to explain why he wasn't there.
Oh,
and then that's when Giant comes out, talks a bit, and then gives him Nash's jackknife powerbomb, his finisher, and then leaves. It was a pretty worthless segment. But before we move on, I want you to tell me what Dave Meltzer gave Malenko versus Eddie.
Dave Meltzer gave that 4 stars.
Damn right he did. That was a good match. Okay.
Yeah, it was a good match. It was I don't know. Malenko kind of worked that power off. Like for a cruiserweight match, there was a lot of power moves going on in there. I liked it.
Yeah, Malenko was kind of like a hidden gem. I mean, he was certainly popular at the time, but he didn't get any of the attention that Eddie eventually got, that Ray eventually got. Granted that the attention those guys received was in WWE. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of feel like Malenko was passed over, and he really was a terrific wrestler.
So the second match was Scott Norton, Vincent, Randy Savage with Elizabeth versus Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner, Ray Taylor with
Ray Trailer.
Ray Trailer.
What a horrible fucking name.
Yeah. Is it TRAYLOR? Trailer? Like Taylor, yep. Like with Ted DiBiase.
Yeah, and this is Big Boss Man, and I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Why did you make his name Ray Trailer?
That's weird. Yeah. I think that at one point they tried to make him like the boss.
Oh, and maybe someone went after him
or something to that effect, and WWF squashed it like right away.
Okay, well,
so I think Conan was supposed to be in this match.
Conan was supposed to be there, and Savage took his place. I don't know why.
He was replaced with Savage with no explanation. I wrote down, so that they must have not told us why. We're like only in match 2, and I'm already thinking like, man, everybody coming out to this NWO theme. It's not a good theme song, and they just overuse it so much. It kind of kills the individuality of these wrestlers. Like, fucking Macho Man comes out to the it's like some shitty, like, I don't know, 80s porn song reject track.
Yeah, but they do, they try to add little bits of color to everybody, like Macho Man comes out to that, but every once in a while there's a ooh yeah like interspersed in there.
Yeah, what they're gonna say in the voiceover or whatever.
Yeah. But yeah, no, not good. This match was pretty disappointing, and it made me think of you because I know you hate multi-person matches, and this was just such a messy, ugly 6-man tag. I wrote down Ray Traylor is really bad. His punches look fake. He doesn't move well. Steiner's are good. Scott Steiner, I think, was probably the standout of the match just because he's so big and does lots of powerful moves. They did do something cool, the Steiners. Rick had somebody up on his shoulders, and then Scott got on the top rope and did like a DDT off of Rick's shoulders from the top rope. That was pretty cool.
Scott Steiner was already getting pretty huge. I know he wasn't at his max roided out look, but he was pretty huge.
Yeah, but he was pretty pumped.
And Scott Norton probably had the mullet of the night. It was kind of like a buzzy, it was like buzzed on top mullet party in the back, you know, like almost like some kind of coonskin
That guy was
cap.
a friggin' brick wall, dude. Scott Norton was thick as a brick.
Yeah. Standard NWO formula, nothing too special. NWO.
Lots of interference, yeah. Savage broke up a pin, hit Scott Steiner with the elbow. Yeah, NWO wins.
Meltzer gave it 2 stars. And then we move on to JJ Dillon. He's going to announce who the referee is, and he scrambles for a few minutes. And of course, I thought of you, Aaron. It was your least favorite person in all of wrestling history that he decided will be the referee, Nick Patrick. And it was instant fan deflation in the audience. Everyone was kind of like, what? Because Nick Patrick has been known as the cheating NWO ref.
Yeah. And
they said it was picked at random.
They even mentioned that somehow he was let go of the company and reinstated once he learned the error of his ways.
Yeah, he's been reformed, apparently.
We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Don't forget Mean Gene also pushed the 900 number too.
Oh, he did fix it. I kind of like
1-900-909-9900.
Pick up the phone.
And for our third match, it was Bill Goldberg versus Steve Mongo McMichael.
This is kind of a carryover from Halloween Havoc 97. I think like it was Mongo against somebody, but that was the one where Goldberg like interfered and stole Mongo's Super Bowl ring or something.
Well, good old Shivani was calling this Chapter 4 of Goldberg. I don't know if it was Chapter 4 of Goldberg Mongo.
Oh, maybe.
I don't really know if Tony knew what he was talking about or if I just didn't know what he was talking about. But okay, that's Chapter 4. Whatever the fuck that means. Goldberg has been unbeaten at this point. He's part of his winning streak.
Yeah.
So he wins here against Mongo, but it's not really a true squash. I mean, it takes a few minutes to happen.
Yeah, and Goldberg was a little better than I remember. Like in this match in particular, it didn't, like you said, it wasn't a real squash. It was like a semi-squash, but Goldberg did some moves that I was like, oh, I didn't even know he knew how to do that.
Yeah, there might have been one or two. Some of these guys that have gone down in history as being boring in the ring, just bulky guys that can't wrestle. Like when we watch it, I'm okay. My expectations were low because they're doing more than I think when I think of the names. Mainly when I think of Goldberg or I think of Luger, I'm like, well, there is more there than I thought. Luger, especially, I would put him a better in ring than Goldberg, but.
Yeah, for sure. And there was a table used in this match. Mongo got punched in the face and landed onto the table. Got an ECW chant when the table broke. That was kind of funny.
Oh, yeah.
And jackhammer, Goldberg wins.
For a Meltzer rating of 1.5 stars.
1.5, yeah, that tracks. So then Raven walked out to no music. Apparently he was supposed to wrestle Chris Benoit, but he cuts a promo as he's sitting in the corner of the ring, as he typically did at that time, saying he can wrestle whenever, whoever, and he's not going to wrestle Benoit tonight. Instead, it's going to be Saturn, better known as Perry Saturn. So
there's been a lot of guys that were supposed to wrestle that haven't wrestled in this match.
Yeah, what's this about?
Savage wrestled instead of
Conan. Nash didn't show up to wrestle.
Nash didn't wrestle the Giant. And then wasn't there someone at the beginning who didn't wrestle too? I don't know.
No, yeah, but this makes 3.
This guy's not going to wrestle, and he's like real grunge edgelord, with his
Yeah.
eyebrow piercing, his Dinosaur Jr. shirt, and his leather jacket.
I did like his Dinosaur Jr. shirt.
He's like real douche, though. I mean, I like Dinosaur Jr., but he's got a real douche vibe, like, man, fuck the corporate structure, but he doesn't really know what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get Saturn versus Chris Benoit. Benoit, obviously noticeably younger. It is 1997. We've been seeing him in the early 2000s as of late. I didn't really like this match. Raven's flock was interfering. The ref didn't call it a DQ. And then I find out like a minute or two later, the commentary is like, well, it's being fought under Raven's rules, which means there are no rules.
Oh.
I mean, there were some cool things, like Saturn hit a really cool moonsault where he like climbed up the rope. Like he does the thing that LA Knight does where he like just walks up the ropes without any hands, and he did a moonsault without like steadying himself. That was pretty cool. But like it got kind of confusing because there's no DQ, but then I'm pretty sure Benoit like stopped a pin because he put his foot on the rope. Like that's pretty consistent. Maybe I'm just overanalyzing, but
I wrote in my notes, the rules are unclear and there's chaos everywhere, and we could have cut this out completely, and that everyone, including myself at this point, just wants Benoit and Raven because that's the only thing that you've made kind of interesting leading up to this, and now you just switched the guy, put Saturn in there I don't give a shit about, and now I'm supposed to like, why did you hype me up for this Saturn fool if he's not, for this Raven guy if he's not going to fight? But I did notice how Shivani mentioned all the wrestlers in the crowd here tonight paid their own way to sit in the audience. You're telling me that like Rey Mysterio like paid
for a floor seat
to watch this bullshit for his floor seat? Like that's bad optics, you guys. Like you can't pay for your wrestler. They paid for their own flights, their own tickets, because this is the night of wrestling history. Anyways, this was more fodder for them to carry on about how awesome the main event is supposedly going to be. But Dave Meltzer gave it a surprisingly high rating of 3 stars. Saturn won after the Ravens flock interfered, if anyone's wondering how this one culminated, but I don't know. That is what it is.
Benoit was good. Like it was kind of interesting to see Benoit as a fiery babyface. Obviously, we get that in WWE eventually, but for the majority of his time there, he was a heel. So
there was nothing in the match that was bad. It was just kind of like you gave us something we didn't really ask for, and there's not a whole lot on the line.
It just felt like it was thrown together and it was unclear what the rules were, and there was so much interference that the match never felt like it was fair. Benoit got his headbutt off and was ready to pin, but as soon as he went to pin, that was when the flock interfered and Saturn put on the submission and won. So it just kind of like had a meh finish.
And then getting into match 5, it was Buff Bagwell versus Lex Luger. Heels call him Lex Loser. Someone called him that.
I think it was probably Bagwell.
Yeah, this is one of those repeated NWO interference spots that kind of...
I do like Bagwell. He has charisma. I'll give him that. I feel like at this point, Luger is like, what the hell am I doing here? Like you walked to the ring and it looked like he was going to take a nap. Like he was, he's just so unenthused. He did wake up a bit when he got to the ring. It seems like he had some bad blood with Bagwell, but the crowd was just dead.
The commentary was telling us that these fans have been lined up around the block all night, and they had tickets. Now, if you have tickets for an event, why the fuck are you going to line? Like, you're a moron if you're going to line up all night around the building. If you're going to sit at the same place no matter what, fool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So now the commentary is telling us how stupid the fans are. It makes WCW sound kind of disorganized a bit. But yeah, Norton interferes. Savage is in there at some point. Luger racks Savage.
Luger gets the rack. Yeah, that was the only time the crowd got any bit of excited, was when he was like, all right, I'm going to rack him. And people were like, yeah, rack him.
Yeah. So that's fine. Whatever. I'm not like mad at these matches. It's just kind of feels like anything in this era is kind of the same. I just felt kind of a little deja vu-y for me, but it's always funny to see Buff Bagwell, especially since I knew that he went on to become a gigolo after this. It's kind of a hilarious, trashy dude.
He turned his life around eventually with the help of DDP.
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Yeah. What
So,
did Meltzer give this one?
the Gigolo is a respectable job,
It's true, I suppose.
It's 1.5 star from good old Papa Dave.
Yep. All right. Well, next match was pretty good actually. Maybe this is match of the night.
This is where
Or
I'd put the
close.
match of the night, but I'm not sure. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, no, it was good for sure. This was Kurt Hennig, also known as Mr. Perfect, versus Diamond Dallas Page for the United States Heavyweight Championship. I still laugh at DDP's entrance music because it's such a clear ripoff of Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like the
That's
opening
funny.
riff. It's just like, oh my God. Could you try any harder to make this not sound like it's a Nirvana ripoff?
That's funny. I didn't think of it that way.
And this was another one. This was another one where it was like, it was actually supposed to be Ric Flair facing Kurt Hennig, but thank you, Rick. But he was injured a couple weeks ago on Nitro, so Diamond Dallas Page decided that he wanted a shot.
Yeah, this card is all just fucking whatever they decided it should be like this afternoon, before they went on the air.
Yeah, and I do like these guys. This one was entertaining to me. But again, I feel like the crowd was very uninterested for the majority of the match. DDP's ribs were taped up, which I think they were also taped up for the Halloween Havoc that we
They're
watched.
always taped up.
Yeah, he's just living in a state of permanent back injury.
They mentioned it. They were like, well, those like Dusty's like, those ribs are never going to heal, so you just always have to work through the pain or whatever. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. They always kind of use that. They tear him off of him, so it just looks real brutal. Like, oh man, his taped ribs are all fucked up, but it works. He's in his blue jeans, and he's
the baby face.
Yeah,
crowd does like him. They do like his finisher, and this I did enjoy this. It had a good back and forth, and DDP hits Hennig with the diamond cutter, sort of out of nowhere. I like that the diamond cutter it doesn't really feel the same every time. There's always like a little bit of a spin on it, which is kind of cool. Kind of like the RKO where it can come out of nowhere.
I liked when Mr. Perfect was low blowed on the post. His legs were sticking out of the ring with the post between his legs, and
pulls him.
And Dallas pulls him back to crush his crotch, and Dusty goes, well, what do you call that one, brother? Is that one of them Hurricane Ranas? Like obviously it's not a Hurricane Rana.
And then what did Shivani say? He was like, no, let's just call it the Crunch or something stupid.
Oh yeah, Shivani's, whatever he said wasn't funny, but he tries. He's just not very good at his job. That's most people in the world.
Yeah, but DDP did get the win with the diamond cutter and was the new United States champ. Crowd loved that, and he went out into the audience to celebrate with the fans and was just like, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going through the concourse.
I think that was Diamond Dallas Page's first championship title ever.
I think so. Yeah.
The title. And yeah, the actual like content of this match was good. Both these guys are just so great in the ring, but it's like in the ring, back out of the ring, in the crowd, back in the ring, fast. It was a brawl match, but with two very athletic guys that more than just like stomp and punch. So
yeah,
I mean, I love to see these two guys wrestle. Match 7 was special referee.
Wait, what about the Meltzer rating for this?
Oh, 3.5 stars. So
okay,
it's not his highest rating, but I did like this match probably the most so far. Maybe I just like those two guys. They are probably two of my favorite from this era. Match 7 had a special guest referee, which was Bret Hart. And it was Eric Bischoff with Scott Hall versus Larry Zbyszko. This is a really unfortunate match because Bret Hart is in the match and he's not wrestling. He's a referee. And not only that, but one of the people wrestling in the match is not a wrestler. It's fucking TV guy Eric Bischoff in his clowny prepubescent
karate outfit.
Yeah. He's a black belt and something apparently. He clearly doesn't wrestle. He doesn't do anything in this match except for like a few kicks. Versus Larry Zbyszko, who's more legendary of wrestling. He's in his mid 40s at this time. Funny, people in 1997 that were in their mid 40s looked so fucking old. I wasn't like, man, he looks Looks like he's in his late 50s at best, 60s. And then I looked it up, like 45? Like the hell?
He had a hard life, man. Wrestled
Yeah.
thousands of matches. Didn't they say he wrestled like 5,000
They
matches?
said he's won 5,000.
He's won 5,000? Whoa.
He's won over 5,000.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
if that's true, but the stipulation is that the winner of this match will gain control over Monday Nitro, which was their big show of the week. So
This was bad, but Larry had the crowd behind him. You could say that. I mean, what was stupid about it was Larry was doing things to Bischoff that feel like they would be totally fine in most wrestling matches, but for whatever reason, Bret Hart like kept stopping him from doing them.
yeah, like instead of giving him a 5 count when he's got him up with the ropes, he gets Bischoff in the corner and Bret pulls him right off.
Yeah,
And
it was weird.
then when Bischoff would have Zbyszko in a corner, Bret didn't do anything, and Bischoff did all of his like goofy. It's just insulting to wrestlers.
Yeah.
I feel like that this guy was on the car when Rey Mysterio was sitting in the audience, and Ray Bischoff in his little karate outfit. Oh my God, what the fuck? But yeah, Bret seemed to be playing into Bischoff's best interest, but that's not really how it culminated.
Right. That's what they wanted us to think. No, definitely not. Scott Hall gave Eric a steel plate that just looked like a fucking rectangle of aluminum foil.
Yeah.
And then put it in Bischoff's like shoe kick pad or whatever. And he kicks Larry in the head. It flies out, goes 50 feet in the opposite direction. And this is where Bret decides that he's going to punch Bischoff, and then Scott Hall comes in, gets a sharpshooter for his troubles. And I think this was probably the loudest that the crowd got for the entire match, was when Bret started doing things as the referee when he put Scott Hall on the sharpshooter.
Is the Scorpion Death Hold or whatever the fuck?
Scorpion Deathlock?
The Scorpion Deathlock the same as a sharpshooter?
I don't think so. I think it's very similar. I'm not sure, but I think maybe I know that they turn different directions.
Yeah.
But I think also maybe the legs are reversed, like something like that.
Like almost like they're modified versions of the same move.
Yeah, they're very, very similar, but they are different if you look at them side by side. Like one turns one way, one turns the other, and I think they swapped the legs. But this, like, what a weird ending. Like, there was no pin, the bell didn't even ring. It was just like...
Yeah, I was like, wait, I guess Bret Hart's just going to kick everyone's ass and then let the match continue? And they're like, no, it's over.
No, Larry wins, yeah.
I was like, okay, then I guess if I had to make sense of it, it was a DQ. But no one ever rang the bell, like signaled for the bell to be rang even.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there was no like, well, winner of this match and new controller of Nitro. It was nothing. It was just kind of like, oh, there's Bret Hart. I feel like they barely knew what they were doing over there. It was a circus.
Yeah. Oh, on Wikipedia, it does say Larry Zbyszko defeats Eric Bischoff by disqualification. So you're right.
That was the only sense you could make out of it. You had to come to that conclusion kind of on your own.
Yeah. And then the big one.
Yes.
The match that we've been waiting for 18 months. The greatest wrestling match of all time. Hogan versus...
And Michael Buffer comes out to say it again. Michael Buffer, before he says, let's get ready to rumble, he says the most anticipated match in the history of professional wrestling. Wow. And then Schiavone goes, it's the biggest moment ever. He says ever. I fucking hate that guy, man. I wish I could fucking... Oh, yeah. One time I was behind Tony Schiavone at AEW when he came out to the floor. Everyone's like, Tony, we love you. And I'm like, fuck you, you piece of fucking shit. Fuck you, FTR. Because FTR was like threatening him at that time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, man, I get to fucking tell Schiavone. I mean, he's not looking back, but...
I do like Michael Buffer. Michael Buffer always added some prestige to things, even if they ended up being poopy. But yes, Hogan versus Sting for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
You are nothing but garbage.
Yeah, you must have been talking about Nick Patrick, Macho.
And Hulk Hogan.
So before we get into the actual substance of the match, let's talk about the controversy, the aftermath, everything. So the controversy of this match is that supposedly Nick Patrick was supposed to count to 3 quickly after Hogan hits Sting with a leg drop.
Fast count.
A fast count 3, which would then lead to Bret Hart coming out demanding the match be restarted. Unfortunately, for WCW as a whole, it seems, Nick Patrick did a normal 3 count. Why this happened may remain a mystery forever because everybody says what they want to say. Everyone has their own opinions. A lot of people, including some of the wrestlers in WCW at the time, think that Hogan told Bischoff to instruct Nick Patrick to make it a regular 3 count in order to make Sting and Bret look weak. And I guess we'll never really know, that they had a rematch the following night on Nitro, and everything really started to go downhill from here with WCW. Hogan beat Sting again on Nitro, but then another referee comes out and restarts the match, and then Sting beats Hogan, and then eventually they vacate the title, and Sting wins it again. But, it's just so messy and convoluted. I don't know.
I mean, I guess the issue is that for anyone that hasn't watched this, it's that you can't have a reason for the babyface to come in and restart the match, even if he's a special ref, if the babyface just lost clean. And that's what it was. It was a clean loss. Hogan won. In this scenario, he was presented as the better man. He won fair and square, the nice even count. So if he quick counted and Bret was like, no, for the integrity of the sport, we've got to redo this, then that could have made sense, but there was all it seemed was that Bret Hart was cheating. And you're like, how am I supposed to, Hogan's a bad guy, but now he finally does something fair and square and the good guys are going to cheat. It ruined that one speed of the count switcheroo, kind of ruined everything. And the match itself was kind of a snooze fest. I literally fell asleep while I was watching this and had to wake up and go back to start it over again. There's obviously nothing interesting about Hulk Hogan.
It was pretty bland.
The match itself is pretty bland. And then the Bret Hart thing just brought in a bunch of confusion. The Crow aesthetic it's so on the nose that it's like Crow cosplay more than Sting made it himself.
I know that the Crow aesthetic kind of feels hokey now in having the benefit of hindsight, but I think at the time the Crow kind of flew under the radar as a movie. It became a cult classic in the early 2000s and beyond, so I think it worked. I mean, when I was younger, I liked the look, and he seemed ominous, and I liked the build up to this match as a fan when I was a kid. I actually don't remember watching this when I was younger. And, despite all of the screw ups and the negativity that came afterwards, I do have to say that when Bret Hart restarted the match and Sting started, hitting Hogan with the splashes and then got him in the Scorpion Deathlock, crowd went nuts. They were so happy that someone had finally dethroned Hogan. And, it was just so weird because Hogan hits the leg drop. We get the normal count. Crowd's just silent. They're like, what? What is going on? And it was pretty amazing how ballistic the crowd went. The crowd is screaming. The rest of the WCW wrestlers start filling in the ring and they're all celebrating with Sting. It feels like the moment itself, in the moment, it was a success, but then they just fumbled it. And the more you think about it and the more you look back on it, you're like, this is terrible. You screwed up the one important thing that you had to get right, which was the fast count.
Yeah, and it seems likely, because we've heard about Hulk Hogan having creative control and that being a really important thing for him. It doesn't seem impossible that, like you said, Hogan could have gone to Bischoff and ran his own little screw job out of it. But if you're gonna do that, you kind of got to make it make sense. It just didn't translate on TV to what is this? But
yeah, I think this is this moment might be where the famous "that doesn't work for me, brother" started from.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And this kind of was sort of, this had to be the beginning of the end for WCW, right? NWO's reign kind of culminated. They didn't really have another trick up their sleeve.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it. Watching who killed WCW. People certainly make the argument that there's a whole variety of things that led to their downfall, but they went from the most bought and the most bought pay-per-view with the highest revenue they've ever gotten to steadily going down and down and down afterwards. So
because if you watch by like 1990, even 98, if someone says 98 WCW, it doesn't have a ring to it that's like, oh, like 1996, 1997. It's you start to feel the tone kind of switches in my head. If someone's like 99 WCW, you're like, what the fuck is that? Like,
I mean, at least in 98 you still had the Goldberg run, and like
Right.
98 was the year that Goldberg beat Hogan for the belt. So I guess they did all this back and forth with Sting and Hogan, and then Hogan got the belt again and then dropped it to Goldberg later on in 1998. But
yeah, they weren't heading anywhere awesome from here. So this was probably peak. This was like the shark, I guess. I don't know. That was jumped, perhaps.
yeah. And, one final thing I'll say about this is I remember hearing, and I don't remember who this was from, but I remember hearing someone say that part of the reason why Hogan changed his mind was that he saw Sting wasn't tan enough for the match.
I see people online complaining. They're like, Sting didn't look like he was in ring shape. It didn't look like he had gotten a tan. He didn't look like he was the size that he was before he disappeared.
He's been wearing a fucking like giant jacket for 18 months. Of course he's not going to be tan.
You know what I thought was funny is, I mean, as far as I know, Sting is just this fucking white boy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where he's from, but I don't think of him as like a guy that if he hasn't spoken in 2 years or whatever the fuck it was, the first thing he would yell out is mamacita. But that's what he did.
Something in Spanish. No, but he said something else before it too, like something mamacita.
He like mumbled something and then said mamacita, and I was like, what?
Shivani was like, was that Spanish?
Like, why do you like? I don't know. It wasn't like Eddie Guerrero saying that. It was like just some fucking big crow looking white guy who's supposed to be all quiet and ominous, and now he's mumbling like some shit in Spanish, all funny accented. I don't know. WCW, yeah, quite a celebration. All the baby faces fill in the ring. The ring looked like, I don't know how it handled that many big dudes at once, but they did what they could do. It landed a little flat for me, but let's go ahead and get into our rating system, which is fast forward, play, or rewind. 3-tier system. Fast forward being boo, play being like, yeah, it's all right, it's kind of mid, and rewind being like, this is fucking awesome. This was your call, Aaron. So let's take your rating first, if you don't mind.
Sure. I think I'm willing to fall on my sword with this one. I would say, if you are interested in wrestling history, it's kind of worth it to see Hogan versus Sting, just because it's kind of like watching a car crash in front of your house where you're like, I know I don't really want to see this, but I kind of do at the same time.
Yeah.
I did also enjoy Hennig versus DDP and Malenko versus Guerrero, but I think I got to go fast forward on this one and just say watch the good matches on their own. Skip this.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with my original rating. I'm not going to be influenced by what you said, because I do see why you would go all the way to fast forward on this. But I picked play because of the cultural significance of this one, and WCW being the only wrestling company that ever got on top versus WWE or WWF, and this was kind of a change point for that whole saga. I did like DDP's match a lot there with Kurt Hennig. Compared to other pay-per-views we're watching, I would put this kind of as a mid sort of pay-per-view. So not a strong vote of confidence for me, but I am going to stay with play on that. Normally at this point, I would go ahead and tell you guys what I'm going to pick to watch for next week, but this was actually our final full-length episode of the year of season 1. So thanks to everyone who listened to us this first year of us podcasting. We will still be here every week through the end of the year with bonus episodes where we're going to pick matches, mostly December themed matches, and just talk about one match and how we felt about that. Hopefully we can get, some Santa Claus matches or some holiday fucking whatever, somebody cracking somebody else with a Christmas tree or a fire poker. I don't know. We'll see. But we're gonna hit you with some bonus episodes, and then in January, as long as we can still have access to old pay-per-views, we will start right back up with entire pay-per-view episodes. I feel like WWE and who will put those pay-per-views somewhere, but
Hopefully.
I think they're not going to be on Peacock for very much longer. And we always love to hear from you out there, the Grapple Gang. You can contact us via social media. We are at Grapple City Pod on TikTok, Instagram, X, Threads, you name it. We are grapplecitypod@gmail.com. If you'd like to send us an email, let us know what you'd like us to cover. Let us know what you agree with, disagree with. Or if you want to call and leave a message on our Google Voice line, it will go straight to voicemail. You don't have to have the awkwardness of us actually picking up. You can just drop a message right there. The number to call is 626-657-SLAM. That's 626-657-SLAM.
Pick up the phone.
And you can cut a promo on us. You can cut a promo on Aaron, cut a promo on me, or you can just talk about wrestling. Right now, before we go, let me pull up. I got an email here from Mark in Spokane, and he says, hey, guys, loving the mix of big tentpole shows and the weird stuff you two dig up. Is there any chance you could cover more pay-per-views that never get talked about? Stuff like WCW Uncensored 95, AWA Superclash 3, or Heroes of Wrestling type disasters. Those episodes are always fun. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Mark in Spokane. Hey, we can. I'm totally down with all those. But Aaron, have you ever watched Heroes of Wrestling?
No,
You know about this?
I don't.
Okay, so Heroes of Wrestling, which I've not watched. We should watch this. It's not good. It's from 1999, and some promoter dreamt up this thing where he would just go get all of these 80s wrestlers, like big fucking names, to wrestle for a pay-per-view, like an indie pay-per-view. And everyone dropped off, and it was a huge mess. Every match apparently sucked. Let's see. I can pull it up here.
I see these names, yeah. I recognize pretty much every single name.
Vader, Terry Funk, Bigelow, Honky Tonk Man were all approached but declined. Nick Bockwinkel was advertised, did not appear. Yokozuna and the Bushwhackers were referred to as former Yokozuna and former Bushwhackers.
Got Jimmy Snuka. We got Abdullah the Butcher, Tully Blanchard, Greg Valentine, George the Animal Steel. Oh my God. Yeah, we should watch this.
These guys are like real old at this. You have Randy Orton's dad, Cowboy Bob Orton. King Kong Bundy's in there. That's funny. Jake Roberts. So yeah, we should watch it, but it's known for being like a failure. And I think it was a financial disaster. But back then there weren't a lot of companies trying to kind of go rogue on it and just collect a bunch of old talents. So I mean, it's probably a pretty interesting time, but
yeah, I would check this out.
The Iron Sheik's match was extremely negatively received, according to Wikipedia. So I don't know. I'm glad this guy brought this up because what's his name? Mark. I'm glad you brought this up, Mark, because I think I'm going to put it in our little notes of recommendations so we can get to it one of these days. I wonder what time of year Heroes of Wrestling was.
It was in October.
Oh, fuck it. We don't got to wait till October. We can do it before then.
Yeah.
Well, that is all the time we've got for today. Thanks again for listening to our first year of Grapple City Rewind. We will be back with some short bonus episodes in about a week.
Catch you in the cheap seats. Adios.